Inspired by Judy Blume's groundbreaking 1975 novel Forever, watch the reimagined coming-of-age series about young love by Mara Braca Keel, the iconic creator of Girlfriends. The epic love story follows two Black teens, Keisha and Justin, as they explore romance and their identities through the awkward journey of being each other's firsts. Watch Forever, now playing only on Netflix.
Welcome to the home of Florida's finest everything. Naples, Marco Island, and the Everglades. They call it Florida's Paradise Coast for a reason. Bask in 30 miles of soft white sand beaches, luxurious hotels, and stunning beachfront resorts with delectable dining experiences. Take advantage of warmth, relaxation, and endless outdoor adventures. When you want a Florida vacation that's exceptional in every way, only Paradise will do. Naples, Marco Island, and the Everglades. Florida's Paradise Coast. Plan your visit now at paradisecoast.com. When we have a million different things, a million different balls that we are juggling and plates that we're spinning, it's hard to feel like we're doing any one thing right because we're doing 15 things okay. And 15 things okay is pretty freaking great, but it actually feels way better to do 5 things great than 15 things okay. So the first thing I would suggest that you do is come up with some quarterly goals. Not annual goals, as entrepreneurs love to do, myself included, but quarterly goals. And whenever you're listening to this, y'all, it doesn't have to be at the start of a quarter. You can just say, okay, for the next 3 months, what's my area of focus? What are the wins that I would really like to see? And don't go crazy. Don't be like, well, I'd really love to make that $1 billion in the next 3 months. Like, can you focus on things that are actually achievable by the end of your quarter? Hey guys, it's Rach. Welcome to the show. I'm so glad that you're here with us today. And I have a favor, which sounds kind of harsh if we just met, but I'm assuming that most of you have been a part of this community for a hot minute. And so I gotta ask, are you subscribed to the podcast? Subscribing to the podcast you listen to regularly is one of the best things that you can do for hosts like me. It helps to support the show and the staff that works on it. It ensures that you never miss an episode when we drop a new one. And here's the cool thing about subscribing. If you do it and then you hate this show, just unsubscribe. It's one click away. In the meantime, if you're listening, we would so appreciate it if you would just tap that button and make it official. Hello, Dolly. Well, hello. God, I wish I had had a life as a Broadway star. Can never sing though, but I would have been great. Welcome to another episode of the Rachel Hollis podcast and a new edition in our Ask Rach series. If you've never hung out with me during one of these episodes, this is where I answer questions from you guys. People call in from all over the world and they ask me anything and everything, and I answer the questions in real time, meaning I do not prepare my answers. So what you hear is exactly what I thought of in the moment, from my gut, from my heart, as if you were sitting across from me asking these questions, which means you can ignore it. I am just a random chick you know from the internet. You can ignore everything I say, take what works, leave the rest. Let's dig right in.
Hey Rach, this is Elizabeth from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I'm just making my second cup of coffee on a Monday morning, and it's one of those Mondays where you just don't know your head from your behind. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm leading a new business plus a business that I acquired. My husband's an entrepreneur. We have a 7-year-old who is neurodivergent and a 14-year-old, so a teenager. I just feel like I don't know where to start. I am overwhelmed in my business. I feel like I can't do anything right as a mom. And yeah, I just don't know where to begin. I have too much work to do, not enough time, I do prioritize self-care as much as I can, but I just need to take a step forward. And this seems to be something that I cycle through a lot. Yeah, probably cyclical for a particular reason, but I just could use some inspiration and some advice on putting the next foot in front and how to keep growing and improving and increasing my business and my life. Love your stuff, love your content. Thank you so much.
Elizabeth, thank you for this question, and thank you for your honesty. We all have those mornings where we're like, I don't know what's going on. You already beat me to the pass with what you said. You're like, oh, it probably is cyclical for a reason, because you know that's where my head went. If you guys are new to the show, then you maybe have not heard me talk about this before, but if you are someone who has a uterus and is still experiencing your monthly cycle, please, please, please track your cycle. I have a period in the midst of every month where I actually feel depressed. I just had blood work done 3 days ago because I need to have my hormones checked again because it's gotten really bad again. And just so we're clear, even if you've had hormones checked in the past, anytime you experience life changes, like I'm 42, so I'm in perimenopause, but if you experience changes in your life, I don't care what age you are, if you're under a lot of stress, if you have started a new nutrition plan, or you've been working out harder, or maybe you had a baby, like anything that can affect your hormones will affect your mood. So if you feel that your moods are cyclical, if you notice that, oh, I'm having this feeling again, like I feel overwhelmed, I feel like I can't do anything right as a mom, I can't, but that's not how you normally think, it's worth tracking your cycle to see if it shows up on the same day every month. Years ago, not the same thing, but a similar piece of advice, a friend of mine who's an author was counseling me through a spiral where I was talking about my latest book and how it was garbage and I hated it and no one would ever read anything I wrote. And she was like, will you do me a favor? Will you just write down what your word count is right now? And she said, will you notice on the next book, if this happens again, will you then write down the word count on that? And it turns out most writers have the same spiral around the same word count on every single one of their manuscripts. The same thing happens to us and our hormones. If you're always getting the same negative feelings, the same hard feelings on the same day every month, they're not real. They're your hormones. So that's step number one, but you already knew I was going to say that, Elizabeth, so I just said that for everybody else. Let's get more tactical. Let's talk about things that you can do that will make you feel like you've got some wins. Because when we have a million different things, a million different balls that we are juggling and plates that we're spinning, it's hard to feel like we're doing any one thing right because we're doing 15 things okay. And 15 things okay is pretty freaking great, but it actually feels way better to do 5 things great than 15 things okay. So the first thing I would suggest that you do is come up with some quarterly goals. Not annual goals, as entrepreneurs love to do, myself included, but quarterly goals. And whenever you're listening to this, y'all, it doesn't have to be at the start of a quarter. You can just say, okay, for the next 3 months, what's my area of focus? What are the wins that I would really like to see? And don't go crazy. Don't be like, well, I'd really love to make that $1 billion in the next 3 months. Like, can you focus on things that are actually achievable by the end of your quarter? When I started this year, I committed to breaking up my year into 4 quarters instead of one big annual goal. And I had amazing success with this. I've talked to you guys about it before. You mentioned that you have a 7-year-old who is neurodivergent. My daughter has recently been diagnosed with ADHD. And for years, I had suspected that this was going on, but to actually have it properly done, we had brain scans, we went to a psychologist who specializes in children. Like, there's so much stuff that we went through. It was so time consuming, just to be honest. Any of you who've walked with your kids through something similar, you know, it's a lot. And there aren't many parts of that process that feel good. Right? She didn't want to go to the doctor and she didn't want to have brain scans. And we did have blood work done and that was really scary for her. But I wanted to test everything. I just wanted to know all the stuff that was going on. And she is adopted, so I don't have as much insight into her biologically as I do with the boys. So it's just really important that we knew as much baseline information as we could get our hands on. And that was my quarter 1 goal, was just that Noah would be thriving. That was my goal. I am so grateful that that was my goal. I think for the rest of my life, I'm going to look at that as like one of the best parenting decisions I made, because the human that she is today in May versus the person that she was in December it's insane. It's light years. There were several things that I think have allowed us to see so much improvement in her. One, honestly, was us being educated. Us being educated in how her brain works and what is stressful for her brain is probably the best, most amazing decision we ever made. I just realized I'm going really deep into this subject, and that is not what Elizabeth asked me about, but I'm pretty excited. Let me just wrap it up. Understanding how her brain works, getting her on supplements that really helped to, for lack of a better word, like turn on the parts of her brain that were really sleepy and needed some extra support. She's a completely different kid. But it took, for sure, 4 solid months of going through all the things. And this was after, 5 years of trying to manage her behavior instead of get her the support that she needs. So all of that to say, it was like no results, no results, no results, and then exponential, amazing results. And her feeling better affects our entire family. Our entire family feels better because Noah feels better. It doesn't have to be about your kids, but if you pick areas of tension in your life, y'all have heard me say this before, think of an area of tension. Think of something about your life right now that is hard. Start with that thing. If I could ease up the tension I feel in this area, gosh, I'd feel so much better. And that would just relieve a little bit of pressure so that I could focus on this thing over here. The reason we don't gravitate towards these things naturally is because the area of tension that we try and fix, it's not an on-off switch. If you've got a true area of tension in your life, in your health, in your relationship, in your business, it does take about a quarter, 3 months minimum to work through that issue, to try some stuff, to find solutions, to get some answers, to put it in practice, to do it with consistency. That takes a while, which is why people will just keep doing this thing over here like, hey, but I got all the balls in the air, and if I have to focus on this one broken ball, then all the balls that are in the air will fall. But if you could just fix this broken thing, this broken area of your life, your health is really suffering, or you need to get your hormones checked, or you don't have enough support at work, or you don't like your boss, or whatever it is, it might take a minute to unpack all of that and to break all of that down to the base level. But what you're able to build back on top of is just so much better. So what would it look like, Elizabeth, if you find a goal, maybe 2, for the next 3 months of your life, for the next 4 months of your life? Just bring it in, make it a bit tighter, and say, I'm going to keep trucking in all the areas that I'm currently trucking. But this one thing is going to be my core focus until, where are we at? Let's go May, June, July. What if we just say by the end of July? May, June, and July. You're just going to focus in on this one area for that amount of time and see if you can get a major win. A major win. I love this idea because it gives you focus. Because if your whole life feels overwhelming right now, then being able to get laser focus on one spot will allow you to see some real results and will hopefully make you feel a bit more in control of what's going on.
Inspired by Judy Blume's groundbreaking 1975 novel Forever, watch the reimagined coming-of-age series about young love by Mara Brock Akil, the iconic creator of Girlfriends. The epic love story follows two Black teens, Keisha and Justin, as they explore romance and their identities through the awkward journey of being each other's firsts. Watch Forever, now playing only on Netflix.
If you've ever learned about nutrition in a way that you didn't know before, and suddenly you're way more thoughtful about what your food is made with, what's on the back of the label, it can be really confusing when you're first starting out to understand what means what you should buy for your family, and what you should leave at the store. Well, now you can spend less time at the grocery store thanks to Thrive Market, your new go-to online grocery store for getting all of your healthy essentials delivered. With over 1,000 harmful ingredients banned from their store, Thrive Market's team of product researchers do the hard work so you don't have to spend all of your time trying to figure out what is in the food you are ordering. Finding better options for your whole family is super easy with Thrive Market's Healthy Swap Scanner. You can scan a product you already have and it instantly recommends healthier items. Ready to make the switch? Go to thrivemarket.com/Rach for 30% off your first order plus a free $60 gift. That's THRIVE market.com/Rach. thrivemarket.com/Rach. My next piece of advice is build a better routine. Build a better daily routine. I know that a routine can feel monotonous, or if you're not in the habit of building habits, it can feel pretty daunting. But a routine is something that allows us to thrive and allows us to get into flow state and allows us to accomplish a lot more in a lot less time. Y'all would be shocked, or maybe you wouldn't, at how much time it takes me to record the podcast every single month. So I do 6 episodes a week. I'm not going to count masterminds because mastermind episodes I just do the intro for those. Those are a collection of interviews I've already done. But the rest of the episodes I record every week, which looks like, gosh, what is that? Let's say 5 episodes. If it's a 4-week, that's 20 episodes. It's pretty unheard of in the podcast space. But I'm really good at batching my work. And I have a set day every single week where I come in and I batch a bunch of episodes. Like today, I'm doing all my Ask Rach's. Shocker. That's not true. I don't think I'm going to finish them all because I am going on a date later. I'm pretty excited and I want to do my hair and makeup, just to be real. But typically, I would get at least 3 Ask Rach episodes, if not 4, in a single day. I do that with a lot of my work. But it means in a season like right now where I am writing a new book, and my next book is fiction, which is so excited. I'm going back to my roots. But it's also a style of writing I've never done before. It's a category of writing I've never done before. It's completely different than anything I've ever done. Still my voice. If you like my voice, if you like my old fiction, I think you'll still be pretty pumped. But it's just not like anything I've done before. And it really stretches my brain. And it's really hard for me to do. But guess what? I am doing podcasts maybe a day and a half every single week, which means that the rest of my week is reserved for writing. I'm able to take on a new project like that, and I'm able to accomplish more with less time because of my routines. I know that it feels so much freer to be able to kind of like do whatever you want to do. I'm making this up. You could be the most regimented person I know, but something that makes me feel more on top of my life is when I have a set routine and I'm actually executing against that routine. If you don't have a routine yet, y'all, and you're listening to this, the simplest thing to do is tomorrow before you go in to start your workday, and if your workday is stay-at-home mama to 2 toddlers, this counts for you too. Just jot down in the morning while you're having that second cup of coffee, jot down like, these are the 3 major wins that I want to accomplish by the end of today. Or, sketch out a rough schedule of how the day will play out. Let's say you are a stay-at-home parent and you've got a dentist appointment for one kid and then you have a play date in the afternoon. Okay, great. Let's map out the day. Let's map out the schedule. Now drop in meal times because we know we're going to have to feed these kids. Okay, now drop in nap times because we know we need to do that. Suddenly, the open time period that you have to accomplish maybe the hobby that you wanted to do today. Maybe you have some laundry you're going to get to, you're going to prep dinner. You'll see pockets of time become really clear. Like, oh, dang, that's the only time I have to do this thing. Tomorrow, my son has a baseball game in the evening. Our whole family's going to go to it. That means, because I know that that's happening in my schedule, my routine says in the morning, I'm going to put on some chili because we all like chili. And the baseball game is going to happen while I would normally be making dinner. So if I put on that chili in the morning, then by the time we get home from that game, we're all set up for success. But that wouldn't happen if I'm not looking at my schedule and planning out what needs to go on in the routine in order to accomplish it. Lots of ideas, paying attention to that cycle, choosing some wins for this quarter, getting a routine that really works for you. You said you know about self-care. Last piece of advice I'm going to give you, maybe not something you've thought about. Find a confident friend. Get a friend who's confident. They love talking about how they're crushing it. You know what I mean? Even if the friend's like a little bit full of themselves, but they're still a good time, they're fun, they make you laugh, but they're like a little bit full of themselves. You need a little bit of that energy right now, Elizabeth. You need some of that vibe because you're being really hard on yourself. You need some wins, but you also need to acknowledge the wins you already have, right? You've got 2 entrepreneurs at home. You got 2 kids at home. Like there's a lot going on. You need a little mojo. And one of the ways that you can get that, the easiest way that we can get that is to hang out with people who have it. We become who we spend the most time with. So if you find that your energy, that your mood, that any of that stuff is slipping or it's not where you want it to be, hang out with your friends or your family members. Go on social media and follow people who have the vibe that you need to collect a little bit more of. Thank you for the question. If y'all have a question just like Elizabeth, call that hotline, 737-400-4626. Let's see what this person has to say.
Hi, Rach. This is Emily. I am calling from Rhode Island. And I had a question for you. I was just rewatching that YouTube video of yours about, making your space feel more like home. And I just like the energy and the style of your home. And so I was wondering if there are any stores that you really love to shop at, if you have a few words that describe your interior style, and what you look for when picking out pieces to bring them into your space and into your home. I'm doing some spring cleaning and I'm trying to refresh my space. And so I just wondered if you had any tips and stuff about that to make your house feel cozy and lived in and feel like you. Thanks so much. And I appreciate all the content that you put out there. Thank you.
Okay, lots of ideas here. But first, I just had this thought as you were wrapping it up, and I want to say it because I don't know if I've ever acknowledged it. I really appreciate that every single caller will say something in their call about how they appreciate our work. I listen to these voicemails. Producer Jack listens to these voicemails. Our editor Andrew listens to these voicemails. And it's the first time it's occurred to me that y'all could just call and ask a question and that would be it. But I literally don't think I've ever heard from a person who hasn't said something about the work. And I just was hit by that. Like, thank you. Because so much of this work, we are soloed, right? Like I'm by myself in a room right now. Producer Jack will be by himself in a room when he works on it. Andrew will be by himself in the room. He's got a new baby. Maybe the baby's in a Bjorn or something. He's bouncing it around. I don't know. We don't get to interact with you guys in person. I just really appreciated that. I don't know why it's not occurred to me before, but thank you all for saying thank you or for telling us which episodes you like or what you're consuming. It's awesome because then we know like, okay, someone's listening. I have a bunch of ideas because we're moving. We're moving. I haven't shared this, and I'm going to look at the calendar and see when this episode comes out. Yeah, I'm going to do an episode all about the new house, but I don't know when that's going to go. So you might be getting, for those of you who are nerds, you might be getting a sneak peek of information that you didn't know yet, which is we bought a new house. I talked about like several months ago, I talked about that we had put an offer on a house and there was like all of this stuff happening with it. But yeah, we bought a house, and it is my sister's. It is a fixer-upper. It is a money pit. It is maybe ridiculous, but I love it. I absolutely love it. Kez loves it. Like, we're just so excited about it being completed 12 years from now. No, it will be a project though. It is already a project. Let me just quickly tell you something that happened this week, which was so freaking exciting. So, first things first. Oh, okay, I'm going to repeat this in the episode that's about the new house. So if you listen to that too, don't be like, girl, you already told me. Whatever. There was a ceiling. Okay, well, obviously there's a ceiling, Rachel. No, but there's a ceiling in this house. Beautiful, stunning, vaulted, like just the whole thing, right? Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. A Spanish style, Spanish revival. Put your mind there. In the living room, vaulted ceiling, ornate beams, okay? And it was pretty. The ceiling boards, Rachel used words, the wood on the ceiling painted white, the beams like a dark chocolatey brown. And it was pretty. But I kept thinking, as a side note, my favorite thing, and in fact, the only things that I consume on social media are on YouTube. And I don't even know if we count YouTube as social media. It's something more, right? I consume cooking videos, anything that's about like gardening, fermentation, baking. I love watching someone decorate a cake. I love home remodels. I love furniture remodels. So all of that to say, if there's like a video about someone making their home better, that's what your girl is consuming. So I'd seen a bunch of videos and I got this idea in my head. What's under the painted ceiling? Okay. Now, those of you who have done remodels, maybe you just got chills because you're like, this is going good or this is going bad. And there's only one way to find out, which is to try. So I have this idea. I'm like, oh my God, this ceiling's amazing. What if there's like a beautiful natural wood underneath? So then I start watching YouTube videos of people trying to take the paint off their wooden beams. And that was a nightmare. Even the people who successfully navigated it, it was like months of effort. I was like, I do not have to, who do I think I am? So I was fantasizing about this ceiling, but knowing that I am not capable. And my beautiful cherub husband, he is capable, but he's, almost asthmatic. He can't be around paint chips from a house that's 100 years old. So I was like, okay, what can I do? So I start researching. Long story short, I find a company. They do sandblasting. Because if you got an ornate ceiling, lots of paint, up high, sandblasting, that's it. So Boo reaches out to the sandblasting place. The sandblasting place, first of all, I need to find their name so I can tell you guys. They were just so delightful. The sales guy calls. I was in the car when Kez answered it. And this is why I know I love this sandblasting company. He calls. He says, hello, Mr. Dark. How are you today? And Kez said, I'm great, mate. How are you? And he said, oh, I am blessed. And I was like, I love this guy already. So he says, yeah, we'd love to come out and, take care of it. We're going to have to test it because if it's this kind of paint, she's going to melt off like butter. If it's this kind of paint, we actually can't do anything. It's too time consuming and it won't look good and we just won't touch it. So immediately I'm like, well, I know this is how it's going. Like there's no way it's going to melt off like butter. That never happens. Girls, it melted off like butter. When I will get pictures, I promise you, because I've decided this week, my Instagram is get ready. I am no longer posting all about the podcast on Instagram because right? It's boring. You've seen me sit in the chair and talk in the microphone. You know what I am posting about? This house. We are new. No, I'm not trying to be a lifestyle house blogger. No, I'm not trying to do my own, but it just makes me so happy. So buckle up because that is what I am now posting about. I can't wait to show you these ceilings.
Every day, thousands of Comcast engineers and technologists create connectivity solutions that change the way we work, live, and play. Like Kunle, a Comcast engineer who is focused on revolutionizing the in-home Wi-Fi experience today and for the next generation. Learn more at ComcastCorporation.com/Wi-Fi.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Y'all know I love therapy. I think I've done every kind of therapy at this point, and I know how important it is. But one of the coolest things to have seen over the last few decades is how so many of the stigmas surrounding mental health have shifted and changed. When I was 14, I went to therapy for the very first time, and that was because my brother had passed away after a long and harsh battle with mental illness. And I remember when he was a teenager how taboo it was to talk about struggling with your mental health or to be seeing a doctor. But over the last 10 years, BetterHelp has revolutionized therapy because they made it fully online, affordable, and convenient. BetterHelp serves over 5 million people worldwide. It's easy to switch therapists at any time, so if you're new to therapy, this is a great way to get started. We're all better with help. Visit betterhelp.com/Rach to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Rach. We don't live in there, in case I did not establish that. We do not live there yet. Open the door yesterday. They say, we're all done. We open the door, I walk in. I cannot believe. You do not understand how beautiful this wood is. The fact that it was covered up, I mean, this is what they did, right? These houses, like, bless their hearts. I know that it's not the question that you asked, but I had to tell you guys the story of those ceilings. I cannot wait to show you. You're going to pee your pants. I will reveal more. I will explain the details. I will explain when we move in. I will explain all of that. It's coming in an episode. Be on the lookout. Now let's talk about decoration, because that is what you actually asked about. I think like most God-fearing, like red-blooded people, I love Pinterest. Love it. Love me a Pinterest board. The Pinterest board for the new house is solidly 200 pins. I mean, it's everything you can imagine. I love a Pinterest board because I think that it helps you to understand what your style is if you don't know what your style is. Because Pinterest has that amazing feature where you start to pin photos and it's like, do you want more photos like this? And you're like, yeah, I do. And then it just starts, everything it's serving you is like exactly what you would dream of. Even if you're not moving, even if you're not remodeling, if you're just curious, go start a Pinterest board. And mine are all secret. I have like a secret Pinterest account and a secret board because I don't want people creepy. Because I didn't know this. If you start a Pinterest, if you have Pinterest and you don't mark your board as private, literally anyone can follow it, which is stressful. I don't want you seeing, you meaning anybody. Like I don't want random strangers being like, that's your tile color. So all of that to say, go create a board. Pretend that you're moving, pretend that you're remodeling your kitchen and see what comes up, because it might be something as simple as you're thinking, man, I need a whole crazy overhaul here. And you look through all the things you pinned and realize, oh, you know what? I actually love color on the walls. All my walls are white, but everything I'm pinning has color. And a can of paint is the cheapest room makeover you will ever find in your entire life. So maybe you spend a little time, you build a Pinterest board. Second, I love things that are previously owned. I love a Goodwill. I am signed up for emails from estatesale.net, which is a fantastic place to find estate sales. I don't love how often they email because they do email quite a bit, but I love things that are already used. I really don't buy new if I can possibly help it. Part of that is just it's better for the earth if we use stuff that's already here than make more stuff. And part of that is I like things that look lived in. I just bought a 100-year-old house. Like, I like things that are lived in. I like that it's funky and weird and different, and I want it to feel, the table has like dings in it. I love those things. I love a flea market. I love, like I said, I'll go into Goodwill. I'll go into Salvation Army. I don't know. I grew up doing that. I think I've told you guys my favorite aunt, my Aunt Linda, was the manager of a Salvation Army my entire childhood. So I just grew up with that being so a part of my life. And it never was weird to me to wear things that were secondhand. It never was weird. Amazing if it's like vintage and cool and, but I also just like, I did this recently. I went to Salvation Army and I bought a bunch of t-shirts for Noah because she's like outgrowing her t-shirts. And I was like, all these kids' clothes, it's just like crap. With her brothers, they would hand me down, right? But she loves pink. She's super girly. So I was like, why don't I just, instead of like going to, Target or going to Old Navy or like fast fashion or whatever, I'm just like literally go to Salvation Army. And I went and got her a bunch of stuff, and you would have thought that I bought her a Porsche. Like, you would not believe how much she loves these shirts. There's like a Snoopy shirt and a Selena shirt. And I don't mean, if you think I'm talking about Selena who's marrying Benny Blanco, you don't know Selena. I'm talking Selena. You know if you know. But I got her a Selena shirt, mostly because I love Selena, but she was just like, who's this beautiful woman? I'm like, we lost her too soon. I got her a Selena shirt. I got her Snoopy shirt. I got her like a Puma shirt that was pink with like, it sort of looked like graffiti. She didn't care. She doesn't care as long as it's pink. I got her a shark shirt, which was like neon colors. Y'all, I got her all kinds of shirts. She was so happy. Sorry, again, not about the house, but I just wanted to encourage you guys. I love things that are, oh, you know what I love? eBay. Oh, talk dirty to me. Give me some eBay. You can get just about anything on eBay. You can find stuff in your neighborhood. I was looking for a clawfoot tub the other day on eBay. You can find anything, you guys. Craigslist, you can find stuff. Okay, calm down. I know not everybody loves secondhand, but I just think it's literally so much cheaper. It is fantastic usually. It's so much cooler character. But if I had to shop in a store, okay, that's what you're asking. If I had to, I love Crate and Barrel. I do get a lot of like kitchen stuff at Crate and Barrel. If I need kitchen stuff, I won't lie. I get a lot of holiday decor at Crate and Barrel. Occasionally I love a Pottery Barn moment, but if I'm being honest, that's more holiday decor. Oh, I love Anthropologie. Obviously. I mean, you have to have like Jeff Bezos kind of money to shop at Anthro, but I do love Anthro. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes Urban Outfitters, which is same company as Anthro, they actually have really quirky and fun stuff. But for me, I like it eclectic. I like it colorful. I want it to look lived in. I want it to look comfortable. But yeah, go on to Pinterest. Start building out your boards. And I promise you, Pinterest is going to start saying, here's an ad for this thing that you don't know is an ad. You're just going to think it's a beautiful bed that looks like the bed you already tagged. And then you're going to click on it and realize it's an ad for a company who sells the exact kind of stuff that you're looking for. And it's great because there's companies like Etsy on Pinterest, like everything's there. So that is my best piece of advice to you. But if you're wondering where most of the things I own come from, it's probably secondhand, and maybe you just can't tell. Okay, the next question is a question I can't find. Now, you may recall from last week, if you listened to last week's episode, that producer Jack put a line in the Excel spreadsheet that said that there was a question about banana bread. Specifically, he wrote, can you share Kez's famous banana bread recipe? But when I click on that link, it took me to another question, probably just missorted, and maybe the banana bread voicemail is in here somewhere else. I cannot find it. I've tried. Rather than pull producer Jack into this session, which he, has a life and doesn't need to join us right now, I'm just going to answer what I assume that question was. I'm assuming that you are wondering about my husband's banana bread recipe because I have referenced it more than once. Kez makes this most amazing gluten-free, no sugar added, delicious banana bread that we all love, and he makes it all the time. And if you are wondering where that recipe comes from, I'm going to put the link in the show notes to this. I'm going to tell Jack, brother, make sure you get those show notes in. But I'm going to tell you guys right now. So it is a very old recipe from Hemsley and Hemsley that appeared on Vogue, more specifically on British Vogue, back in 2012. So she's an oldie, but she is a goodie. And if you follow this recipe like exactly as she tells you to, delicious, gluten-free. It's like banana, maple syrup. He always adds chia seeds. We've done blueberries, and it's so freaking good. It's making me hungry talking about it right now. If you're looking for a delicious gluten-free banana bread, you're going to get this one from British Vogue. You're going to feel very English. You're going to feel very fabulous. And please call and leave a voicemail and let us know how it went. All right. I'm going to assume that that was the question. If there was some other hard-hitting question about banana bread, I guess maybe call in again. If you guys have a question for the next episode of Ask Rach, I hope that you will consider leaving us a voicemail. The number is 737-400-4626. We're so grateful for your questions. It helps us keep things fresh and exciting, or at least interesting. So we're really creating content around what you are interested in. We will be back soon with more conversation. I'm going to go get ready for my hot date, which, if you are wondering, we are going to Funke. Now, if you just laughed, you were like, what, Funky Town? No. Funke, Funke, is an Italian restaurant in Beverly Hills. And if you watch the Netflix Chef's Table specifically devoted to noodles, then you saw the chef, whose last name is Funk or Funky or Funke, I don't remember which one. The whole concept of this restaurant is that they make all of the pasta by hand. We've been wanting to try it forever. We finally got reservations. Our resis are at 5:15 because that is the time slot we could get, but we're also old, like octogenarians at heart, so it's going to be fine. But I'm so excited to try it. I will let you guys know how it goes. But just in case you were curious what restaurant we were trying tonight. And now I will say, I love you and I'm rooting for you. Have a great week. The Rachel Hollis podcast is produced by me, Rachel Hollis. It's edited by Andrew Weller and Jack Noble.
Find what mom will love at Walmart. They've got perfect Mother's Day gifts for every type of mom, especially yours. And you'll enjoy everyday low prices. Shop presents from cool tech to thoughtful jewelry and premium fragrances, and in the end, be mom's favorite. Find the things you and your mom will love at Walmart, in-store, online, and in the app.
Hey everybody, Conan O'Brien here with an ad about my podcast, Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. I've had so many fantastic conversations with people I truly admire, people like Michelle Obama, Bruce Springsteen, Maya Rudolph, Tom Hanks. New episodes are out every Monday, and we have a really good time, so subscribe and listen wherever you get your podcasts.